Cancer, welcome to Yellow Cardinal Tarot with me. My name is Carol, and on this channel my readings are going to center around healing your shadow through parts therapy, and I've been on my own healing journey for quite a number of years now, and in my own healing I use parts therapy, so I've been able to apply that to the tarot, and so I'm going to bring some healing to you today. And you're going to notice that there's no date on this reading, and simply because I trust that when it enters your feed, it's for you. And so we're going to be looking at, first of all, I'm going to be picking a theme for you that you're dealing with right now. And I'm going to be using Heal Yourself Healing cards from Ina Segal. And we're going to do that with the pendulum. We'll pick that with the pendulum. And then when we finish that, I'm going to be looking at a particular situation or issue that you're dealing with that is related to this theme. And I'll also be looking at what's coming up from your shadow that needs healing. And then we're going to look at what guidance the tarot has for you. And I'll leave you with a video or another playlist for you from my other channel called Carol Cares. And so to begin with, I'm going to be using Tarot of the Abyss, and that's where I'll pick my main cards from. And then I'll use the Radiant Rider-Waite deck right here to clarify. So let's start off with, I've calibrated this, my pendulum, and I'm going to ask my pendulum right now to give me a theme card for Cancer for this reading. So we'll start off and we'll just let it go where it wants to go. All right, pick that card. That was easy. Sometimes I struggle with seeing where it's going, but that one was clear from the beginning for sure. So it's obviously something that you need to look at, Cancer. And it's a big topic. It's a big topic that we have for you today. And it's the topic of love. So let go of your limiting beliefs about love. Your heart desires more connections, love, and nourishment. You are at a point in your life where you need to learn how to truly give and receive love. Fully opening your heart will awaken your vulnerability, sensitivity, and fear. In particular, your fear of rejection and intimacy with another person. However, you will also unleash your passion, your inspiration, your greatness, and an ability to care deeply. Start seeing how great life is and be willing to connect to others. If you have been holding on to past pain, then it's time to acknowledge, feel, and move forward. Give yourself permission to let people in. Ask for love with all your heart and soul, and it will come. So, we're going to look at today then, we're going to leave this one right here, and we're going to look at what past pain do you need to feel to heal. So in order to let go of your limiting beliefs about love. So let's look at, in order to get to the tarot, your shadow, because that's what needs healing. That's the second part of this reading. In order to get to that, we have to look at what's going on right now, what situation and issue you're dealing with right now, because it's what's coming up for healing from your shadow that is having the biggest impact on what situation you're dealing with right now. So can you give me one card for Cancer and what situation or issue they're dealing with? That is related to this theme of love. Oh, that came out quickly. You have the Wise One, which is the Hierophant card. It's been a while since I've dug into this deck, and right away it wanted me to I grabbed it right away and I was like, are you sure you want this one? So yeah, we're doing this one today. So what's coming up from your shadow that needs healing? That's directing and having the most impact on this Hierophant card right here. What needs healing? What past pain do you need to feel to heal? because our shadow is what we've buried, but we've repressed, our trauma, our memories from childhood and adolescence. And you have the Moon card in reverse. The Moon card in reverse. And what guidance does the tarot have for you regarding this healing that needs done? One card for that, please. You have the Ace of Wands in reverse. So, ooh, wait a minute. This one kind of dragged, and I'm not sure. I think it might have come, yeah, I think it came from here. So I'll just leave that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, can you tell me some more about this Wise one? Sometimes the cards sneak out at you and you're not sure where they came from, or yeah, but I think we'll just stick with that one. The Wise one, a couple cards for that, please. Okay, we have this one and one more. Whoops. Oh, there we go. So you have the Six of Wands and the Eight of Swords in reverse as clarifier for the Hierophant. How about this Moon card in reverse? A couple cards for that, please. You got one and you got two. Cards are coming out nicely for you, Cancer. Four Swords and the Page of Cups in reverse. That tells me a lot. Not at all surprised to see the Page of Cups when you're talking about a love reading. So we'll get into that. Ace of Wands. Couple cards for that. This one flipped over, which is the Five of Pentacles. And one more card, please. Looking to see if my candle's still lit. Oh, interesting. You end with the Hierophant card. You started with the Hierophant card and you're ending with it. I like that when that happens, because it's like, to me, it's kind of a sign from Spirit saying, you're on track, like your reading's on track. Sometimes every reading's not going to be like that, obviously, but it's just sometimes it's like, yeah, okay, this is a good reading. So, they're all good readings. Let's begin with what situation or issue you're dealing with right now, Cancer, regarding this past pain that you need to heal or feel. You need to feel to heal, I should say. We start off the Hierophant card, and like I said, you start off with it and then you end with it. So here you have this great elder, shaman maybe, medicine man, who is talking to these younger ones. And I always find that, you know, a lot of times I'm going to compare the two for you, but you know, in the Rider-Waite deck, you have it here where it's a papal figure. Same kind of situation where you have somebody sort of in authority that has these disciples, in this case these younger people, that are kind of taking in everything, right? They're like, I always say, they're like sponges. And think about yourself when you were younger, when you know you had all these authority figures around you. You would take everything in. When we're children, we believe everything. What we're told, we take it in. You know, and it could be good things, it could be bad things. It's just that's what we take in, because we're sponges when we're younger, and that will shape us and form us into who we are today. And so the Hierophant card speaks to me of, you know, all those things that you were told when you were younger, and what's right, what's wrong, and you have kind of, like I said, you formed yourself, your beliefs around all of that. And it's really the way that you were wired. It's how you were wired. And so this is coming up for you right now. And it's like you need to start to look at, you know, how were you wired when you were younger? What sort of things were you told when you were younger? What are the beliefs that you have around love? Particularly around love, because this is what your reading is about, you know. What and it says, you know, let go of your limiting beliefs about love. So what were these limiting beliefs? Where did they come from? Why do you have them? And that's what life is all about, where we, on this healing journey, is we start to look at our limiting beliefs around certain things, you know, especially if you're seeing certain patterns that are coming at you in your life and they're repeating for you. And with the same, maybe you're inviting the same type of people in your life. It could be, doesn't even have to be intimate partners. It could be you're meeting the same types of people at work and they're pissing you off. And, you know, you can't seem to figure out, why can't I make friends? Why don't I have friends? Why can't I keep friends? Why do people, you know, bother me all the time? And all of this has to all this has to be about what sort of limits do you have? What belief systems do you have that are really blocking you from getting the love you need in your life? And so this is a question of, let's look at how are you wired. And underneath that, the Six of Wands shows up, and the six in my deck is all the sixes in my deck have this duality to them. So when you look at this card, you see this individual coming home from battle, and he has a victory wreath on his wand here, and he has another one on his head. It's like a double victory here, right? And looks like he's won the battle. So this is a victory card, and you'll hear tarot readers call it a victory card. But because there's a duality to all my sixes, you have to look under, well, what's underneath that green blanket? What are we saying here? You know, because a lot of times when things are won, in this particular incident, we can see that there's also a side that, oh, well, what's been lost then? What have you lost? And so this card speaks to me heavily of grief. This is my grief card. This is my loss card. And so I think, you know, what have you been wired to believe? And maybe you've been wired to believe something around grief, but there's a lot of grief that's sitting right here that wants to come up for you, that needs to come up. And we're going to find out where this grief is. And when we get to our shadow, especially when we get to the little Five of Cups, you know, and you'll see why there's a lot of this grief that's wanting to come up here. And it's all related to how you've been wired. Maybe you weren't allowed to feel when you were younger, right? Maybe you weren't allowed to feel certain things, and when things happened to you, you put them away. But there's something here around grief needing to be expressed. And Eight of Swords in reverse. In an upright position, the Eight of Swords talks about this this person right here, this woman who's all tied up and thinks that she can't get free. And it's very interesting because we have to look at what the sword means. The swords in particular talk about your mental thoughts, your mental energy. And so very interesting that comes under the Hierophant, because remember how I said the Hierophant card talks about how you were wired, what people told you. Well, I think because of what you've been told around love and what sort of belief systems you've picked up when you were younger, you have this Eight of Swords sitting here, right here, that you're feeling very much trapped, and to a point where, you know, you don't see a way out. Like this card in an upright position says you feel trapped, right? And she can get out of this situation. And the way that she can get out of this situation, well, she can walk away, right? She's able to walk, but she just feels so trapped. She's blindfolded. She's caught up in her head. But look at the water at her feet. Anytime there's water in a card, it refers to our emotions that need to flow. And this water looks a little bit stagnant. And so I'm seeing here that your grief is a little bit stagnant. It's stuck. You've got some big grieving here that needs to take place. And yet I think you're feeling absolutely stuck and blocked, and you don't even know what to do. And believe it or not, I think what grief is, if you had to pick one emotion that is probably the hardest to get to, it's grief. And that is the final emotion when we do get to grief, and when we get to really grieve. And I'm not talking about crying, I'm talking about real true grief. And if you've ever been in that place where, you know, it almost sounds like you're laughing but you're grieving, and that's like the final emotion that you want to get to, because that's what releases everything and it makes room for something new to come in. And so let's look at where this grief is coming from. Well, first of all, we start off with, and we're going to go into your shadow. And like I said, this is your adolescence. This is your childhood. This is going to tell me what needs healing around. Why do you need to grieve? What's going on here? And it's all in relationship to unblocking this ability, or these limiting beliefs that you have about love, so that you can open yourself up to love again. And the Moon card comes up here as the first card in your childhood, your adolescence. It's in your shadow. And the Moon card talks about these things that are hidden. These things that are hidden in an upright position. These weird, oftentimes in the Rider-Waite deck, you have these weird things coming out of the water. But there's certain things that are hidden from you. Moon card can also refer to our intuition, our inner knowing, our gut knowing, right? And I think when you were younger, when we're very, very young, we have an intuition, we have a gut knowing when we're very young, but that gets pulled from us when we're younger. When things happen to us, trauma happens to us, and we don't know anymore, right? But I think there are things that are hidden from you that you need to understand, you need to know. And in order to get to these things that are hidden from us, we need to be in touch with our intuition. And that means we need to get into our body, because we can't be intuitive from here. That's our ego. That's not our intuition up here. Our intuition's in our body. But when you were younger, the Four of Swords comes up for you here. Normally, if this isn't in the shadow, the Four of Swords talks about a time that you carve out for yourself and you get some quiet time. Well, when it comes in your shadow, it tells me that I think that you came from a very chaotic childhood where you didn't get quiet time. There was no time for you to, process any of your emotions, or maybe you didn't have the support you needed when you were younger. And that's why these things remain hidden from you, because there's a lot of pain here, trauma, memories that want to come up for you. And then you get to the Page of Cups. And this little page is in reverse because he's blocked right now. Now, the pages are very, very important in my deck. And in particular, if I had to pick one card on this table that is the most important card of this reading, it's this little Page of Cups that's sitting here blocked in your shadow. So the pages in my deck represent our inner children. And I know mainstream psychology likes to say we just have one inner child, but I've been on this journey long enough to know that I have more than one inner child. Our inner children hold our trauma. They hold our memories. They hold our big, big emotions. Because when you were younger, if you came from a very chaotic environment when you were younger, if you have trauma, if you have big emotions like grief, maybe that you hold a lot of grief. Maybe there's a lot of grieving that has to be done. You can't express those emotions when you're younger. They're just way too painful for you. And so our inner children are the parts of us that will hold these big emotions until we get older. And these little parts, these little inner children start to tug at our pant leg and say, listen, I need healing. I need you to listen to me. I need you to feel what I couldn't feel when I was younger. Our Page of Cups is the strongest inner child that we can have in our system, because they hold the cup of love. And that's why I said when it came up, it was like, that's no surprise, because this whole reading is about love, right? And so they are the ones that I call it my love seeker. The Five of Cups in my deck is my love seeker. It's that little part of you that is so, so desperate for love, because they're desperate for love that they didn't get when they were younger. And so this is the part of you that will become that little chameleon as an adult and try to get love from different people. You'll want to save people. You'll bring in toxic people into your environment. People will continue to reject you. It'll continue to manifest these people in your life, because It's trying to get you to heal what needed to heal when you were younger. Heal that love that you didn't get when you were younger. It's the part of you that will cause the most chaos in your life. This little love seeker. It's the inner child. And until you heal this part, it's going to continue to repeat these patterns, these toxic love relationships in your life, because it's trying to get that love. And it'll repeat the same patterns that it learned from childhood. That's all it knows. It doesn't know anything else. And so the way that we heal our little inner child, our little love seeker, is to grieve. It holds so much shame because it wasn't loved. And it holds so much pain. And so it needs to grieve. And so there's this little part of you that needs you to grieve for them in order to heal. And so what guidance does the tarot have for you? Well, here's the Ace of Wands for you. It's blocked. It's in reverse here because maybe you don't see this. But the Ace of Wands, the Ace of my deck, is a offer from the universe. It's actually a gift. It's saying, Cancer, there's a new direction for you right here. The universe wants to take you into a new direction. And the wand is all about our purposeful direction, our creative direction. It could be just something like putting yourself first is something, an incredible new direction for you. It could be something very, very small or very, very big, but the universe is wanting to take you into a new direction right here. Five of Pentacles comes up next, and the Five of Pentacles talks about these two individuals that are walking by this place of worship, and they need to go inside. It's cold, and they need shoes. I mean, the one over here doesn't. This individual, both of them don't have any shoes on. Yet they don't look. They don't even feel worthy enough to turn their heads and consider that they could go inside and ask for some help. This card speaks loudly about unworthiness. This speaks about your unworthiness, Cancer, because when you were a younger child, you didn't get the love that you desperately needed, and so there's a lot of shame in that when you feel unworthy, and so there's some real shame here. And when you find that you start to grieve, you're going to grieve that the love that you didn't get, and you're also going to grieve because you hold a lot of shame. And so those two tend to come out when you start to grieve. Those two big emotions start to come out together. And then right beside it, sideways, is the Hierophant card. And the final, message to you is, all right, let's take a look at this. It's time now to change, on an upright position. This is the way you were wired. Let's take a look at that. And it's time to undo that wiring. It's time to rewire that wiring right around how were you wired around love? How was this little love seeker of yours wired around love? What sort of belief systems, limiting beliefs do you have around love that were handed to you when you were younger from your life experiences when you were younger that, like I said, you need to grieve. So I'm going to leave you with a couple videos on grieving, and I want you to have compassion for yourself, Cancer, for what you're working through. This healing journey is the most difficult journey of your life, but it's the most important one. So take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.